Looking at the photos that model Irina Dvisova posted on social media, it seems that the 42-year-old woman's life was like a fairy tale. She traveled a lot around the world, dressed in expensive boutiques, attended fashionable parties. But the reality behind these bright pictures was entirely different. Few knew that in recent years, Irina's life had been a real nightmare. A nightmare from which she tried to escape but could not. Model. Little is known about Irina's childhood and youth. The future model was born on July 9, 1981, in Norilsk. Around the age of 12, she was raised by her mother alone because her father left for another family. Trying to fill the void in her child's life, Irina's mother enrolled her in several clubs, including a modeling school. The artistic and vibrant girl immediately caught attention and received an offer to appear in a commercial. This is how Irina found herself in the modeling business. Alongside her photo shoots, she participated in several local beauty contests. Although she did not achieve significant success in these competitions, she met businessman Otar Uzarashvili at one of them. Children. Irina knew that the man was married, but this did not prevent her from responding to his advances and starting a relationship with him. Soon their relationship became more than just an affair, but Otar did not divorce his wife, deciding to live with two families. In 2003, Irina gave birth to Otar's son, David, and 5 years later, their daughter, Diana, was born. Irina was content with this arrangement, as Uzarashvili fully supported her and the children. She never demanded that he leave his wife, who, by the way, knew about Irina, and live with her. When Irina's children grew older, she wanted to return to her modeling career, but Otar did not like the idea, and he helped her start her own business. Businesswoman. In 2007, Irina Dvisova became the co-founder and CEO of a wellness complex in Norilsk, built by Otar Uzarashvili's company. Additionally, Irina managed rental properties, including 3 apartments and several commercial properties gifted to her by the businessman. This allowed her to achieve financial independence and not worry about the future. Therefore, when Otar Uzarashvili suddenly passed away in 2011, it did not affect Irina and the children financially. In addition to the business and real estate, Irina received a substantial sum of money from the deceased's will. Move. In essence, Irina had lived in the cold Norilsk solely because of the father of her children. So after Otar's death, she sold the company and the real estate and moved to Moscow. Upon arriving in the capital, she invested part of the funds and spent the rest on herself and her children. She started taking lessons at a horseback riding club, and her children began attending a private school. Irina frequently attended various Moscow parties. At one such event in 2016, the 35-year-old woman met 39-year-old Andrei Kushlevich, athlete. As with Irina, not much is known about Andrei's early biography. He was born on January 23, 1977, in Vilnius in a regular Soviet family that had moved to Lithuania a few years earlier. Andrei was a tall and strong young man. In his youth, he was professionally involved in wrestling and even had prospects of joining the national team, but he had to give up sports due to an injury. After his military service, the man decided to dedicate himself to the military profession by joining the French Foreign Legion. According to various sources, he spent either 5 or 7 years there. Thus, in addition to his Lithuanian citizenship, he also acquired French nationality. Bodyguard. In the early 2010s, Andrei left the French Foreign Legion and joined a private security company. By demonstrating his skills, he advanced in his career and became a bodyguard. In 2016, Kushlevich was hired as a personal bodyguard by an oligarch from a post-Soviet state. He performed his duties excellently, but at some point, Andrei felt that he was being underpaid and decided to rob his employer. In 2017, he raided the businessman's safe, stealing a rare diamond and expensive jewelry worth over 5 million euros. After committing the crime, Andrei attempted to escape to Russia. Fugitive. Since Kushlevich was wanted through Interpol, he was relatively quickly apprehended. This happened at Sheremetyevo Airport, where the thief had arrived from Monaco. Andrei was arrested and was to be extradited back, but during transport in a prison van, he managed to pick the handcuffs and then asked the guard to let him go. After making a daring escape, the man decided to stay in Moscow, where he soon met Irina Dvisova. He charmed her with expensive gifts and his gentlemanly manners. Wedding. Most likely, Irina was aware of Andrei's past. Nevertheless, she agreed to marry him without much hesitation. Interestingly, their wedding took place in Lithuania, where Kushlevich had apparently traveled illegally. The family remained there. Andrei was not bothered by the fact that Irina already had children. He treated them as his own, playing with them, caring for them, and spoiling them. He also literally carried his wife in his arms. At least, this was the case until the birth of Irina and Andrei's child together, Makary, who was born in 2018. It was as if Kushlevich had been replaced. Suddenly, the kind and loving man turned into a strict and authoritarian figure who demanded unquestioning obedience from his family. Tyrant. He often raised his hand against me, my sister, and my mom. And he always did it in a way that left no marks. I was afraid of him because he would have these fits of rage. During those times, he was uncontrollable, Irina's son, David, later recounted. Despite this, Irina continued to endure her tyrannical husband, whose behavior became increasingly alarming with each passing year. The final straw for her came in 2021 when the man, as punishment, forced her to spend a night in the basement of their house. Fortunately, Irina still had an apartment in Moscow, so she filed for divorce, took the children, and returned to Russia, hoping that Andrei, who was still wanted internationally, would not find her there. Bodrum. Irina was mistaken. Andrei followed the family to Russia and tried to resume relations with his wife and children. Although he assured her that he would change, she was not willing to make the same mistake again. Andrei did not leave Irina alone in Moscow, so in 2022, Irina decided to sell her apartment in the capital and move to Turkey. She chose Bodrum as her new residence, where she purchased a villa. Irina's money ran out, so in Turkey she started working part-time as a real estate agent and a yoga instructor. The woman didn't complain. On the contrary, the former model told her friends that she enjoyed this experience. Yes, now I have less free time, but I like my job. And most importantly, I am here away from Andrei and feel safe. He's not right in the head, he's dangerous, Irina confessed to a friend. Wanting to be sure that Andrei wouldn't reach her, Irina obtained a restraining order against him. Additionally, she prepared all the necessary documents required to terminate her ex-husband's parental rights. Unfortunately, she didn't manage to send them to the court. Discovery. On November 28, 2023, by the roadside near the city of Bodrum, passerby saw two large elongated bundles. They were wrapped in sheets and bound with rope. Suspecting what might be inside, the man called the police. Unfortunately, his fears were confirmed. The bundles contained two women who, according to the authorities, were believed to be mother and daughter. Around the same time, Irina Dvizova's friend, unable to reach her by phone, went to her home and discovered signs of a struggle and red stains on the floor. Investigation. Upon receiving this information, the police immediately identified the victims. They were 42-year-old Irina Dvizova and her 15-year-old daughter, Diana. As for Irina's other children, 5-year-old Marka was missing, and 20-year-old David was staying with friends at the time, so he was unharmed. It was expected that the prime suspect in this horrific crime was Irina's ex-husband. When the police reviewed the surveillance footage from a neighboring house, they confirmed this suspicion. The footage clearly showed Andrei Kushlevich arriving at Irina's villa, and an hour later, loading something into the trunk. He then placed his son in the car and drove away. Search. Given how easily Kushlevich crossed the border and tracked down his ex-wife, there were concerns that the criminal might never be caught. He evidently had extensive connections in the criminal world, which allowed him to evade Interpol for many years. But, unexpectedly, in May 2024, Andrei and his son, Marka, were arrested at Prague airport, where he was attempting to fly to Munich using fake documents. The boy was handed over to Irina's relatives, and Kushlevich is currently awaiting extradition to Turkey, where he faces trial. That's all for now. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment on who you think was the smartest. See you in the next video.